Very nice job. How old are you, Ian? Good. Very good job. Very nice job. I think you like Bach, don't you? Yeah, it sounds like it. You really get that from your playing. That's really great. That's really great. And I bet this isn't your first Bach piece, right? No. It's not your last one either, I bet. Also. No. Yeah, I like that answer. Great. You do so many things so well. Now, this is a perfect example of that other kind of Baroque music that I just mentioned, where the rhythm just keeps going. And that's really a cool aspect of it, isn't it? And you do that really well. Okay? So it's really different than that prelude we just heard, where it has that free aspect to it. This is pretty much. Now, I bet your teacher has talked to you about, or I would guess, you played the piece so well, about why Bach called it concerto, and what did he mean by that? And did you ever talk about that at all? Well, he calls it concerto in the Italian style, and he's imitating a style. You know what a concerto is, right? Normally, it's a piece with orchestra and solo instruments, right? Okay, and the solo instrument plays, and the orchestra plays, and then the solo part has a part, and they go back and forth, and they talk back and forth in a kind of a dialogue, right? And Bach wrote some concertos too, but Bach particularly liked another composer named Vivaldi. Have you ever heard of him? Yeah, you have. Bravo, excellent. And he even arranged some of Vivaldi's concertos for harpsichord, right? You know he wrote this for harpsichord, yeah. And you know, maybe you know this too. How many times in other Bach pieces have you actually seen the words forte or piano written? Exactly. So this is kind of, and he's kind of imitating this concerto style by forte meaning everybody's playing, piano meaning a small group is playing. So he's imitating that style of talking back and forth. And you do that really well for the most part, really well. But that's what he means by it. He's writing in that kind of style. You do so many things so well. I want you to do one thing for me here. Can you play there? Just play there. I think you like that passage, right? But I didn't really hear any passages that you don't like, so, right? Now, do you know what that's called here? Would you play this just for us in the right hand? Or you can play both hands, it's okay. Good. Do you know what that's called? There's a technique that's going on there. Do you know what that's called? It's okay if you don't.
It's probably either ostinato or...
Well, it's a little different than Austin. What was the one? Second. You're real close. Did you ever do this? Hanon, yeah. Hanon is made up of one idea. It's called a sequence. Right, okay, so it's a pattern that goes higher or lower, right? And that's a sequence that goes higher, right? And did you hear what a great crescendo he made over the long term with that? Did you, everybody got that? It was exciting, wasn't it? Okay, and then the next time you beefed it up a little bit, okay? There are several places in this piece where there are sequences, okay? Sometimes they start low and they go higher, like that one, where one makes a crescendo. But there's also other ones that start out high and come low. Or they start here, and then they're down a step, and then they're down another step, and then down another step. And there's a couple places like that I want you to do more with. I want you to do more with the shaping of the sequence, like you did so well with that, but kind of in reverse. You understand what I mean by that? Okay. Let me show you one of those. Okay, if I can find it on here. Here we go. Like here. Okay, you see what I mean by that? So play that for us, because we know, because we're looking at it. Show them what we're talking about. Good, right. Now, if you notice, Bach writes it so you have to hold the E. That wasn't very nice of him. Right? And then... Right. And then the last part is here, right? Then you rise up again, right? Okay, so what we want to plan for, where's the lowest point? At the B, right? Okay? So give me enough on the E, and a little less here, and plan that that's going to be our softest. And then you get excited again. But keep the excitement by coming down here. So can you do that for me? Make sure I hear that E sustained, then the D, and then the C. That's better. Now, you know what you might try? How about this? Okay? It's kind of hard for us to hear that those are two different things. Right? So how do you think, did you see what I did to make that happen? What?
You slowly do it to
And
you make
that's right, absolutely. It's those two things. I made this softer. And he caught both of them. I had a slight delay. Now, I didn't go, right? It was really slight, right? Right, and then okay? So try that for me. Just practice your right hand for a second. Bring the C in just a little later and softer. Much better. Okay, now since you did it so well, I'm going to ask you to do it perfectly. Okay? You tell me what's wrong. Yeah. So don't bump the last note of the phrase. Now that's really hard because we have to make that jump, right? So, but nobody cares whether it's hard except us. We have to fix it. You see what I mean by that? So fix that. I bet you can. Good, not bad. Try that again. Try to get your rhythm a little better now. Two people singing in one hand. Pretty good trick. Excellent. Okay, now can you put the other hand with it and keep that hand as good? Plan for a little more E right away at the beginning. Try. Because what I want you to do, you get that great now. I hear two things perfect. But now I want to hear more E, a little less D, a little less C. So make that sequence speak now. That's right. That's the idea. You probably still heard one of those thumbs pop a little bit, didn't you? Yeah. So that's something that's a hard thing to practice because in a way, I kind of made your rhythm not as good. Okay, right? You can feel that, right? Okay, now, I'm not trying to make your rhythm not as good, but I want to get that dynamic thing in there. So I want you to be able to, I bet when you practice it, you can, okay? That may take a little practice, but I can see clearly you understand what I'm talking about. Okay? Now, let me show you another couple places like that. Maybe you can even show me. Where else do you have a sequence? That's the one you did great, so we don't have to talk about that one. Show me, can you find another one? Where else? Where else might be one?
It have to be the other.
No, it can be either one. That's the same, exactly. That's what I want you to see. Yes, that one, exactly. So plan for that to be more of a peak at the top. Here is the same thing, the other hard spot, right? Right. So will you practice that thinking the same dynamic thing? It's the same passage. You show us what we're talking about. Right. So just plan for to have a little bit more here so that you can make that can be your lowest point. Okay? Because you know what happens that's really interesting harmonically here, we arrive at what note? Do you know what C is in relation to F?
It's,
Dominant, that's right. And look what's really cool here. Why is this the low point? Start really soft here and make a crescendo as you go. Because Bach had several measures with it. Right. And that finally gets us home too. Right? So, and it feels really cool. That's what we call a pedal point. We've got a bass note that gets repeated over and over. And that's really exciting because it's a low point. You want to be, that's why you want to come down to the low point and build there. Can you do that one more time for me? Start soft and crescendo as you come back to that major. Can you start again softer? Yeah, so these little things of paying just a little bit more attention when you have a sequence. That one difficult spot of separating the voices out, that's hard. I think that's one of the most awkward things in the whole movement. Okay, so work on just getting that part a little bit better. You know what, I got to tell you one more thing. Sorry. Along the lines of not bumping the last note of a phrase. Can you play here for me? Now, I think, Bach writes forte in that measure, right? Okay. Does he mean forte on the first note or does he mean it on the second note? Now, this is up for interpretation, okay? But I kind of think that he means it on the second note because he doesn't write it at the beginning of the measure. And over here he did. And because I think that F belongs to the end of the other phrase. Instead of, you see, I think that F really belongs to the end of the other phrase. What do you think? You see why I say that? And you feel it now, right? Okay? So try that for me. Play the downbeat soft. And then come in on the next one. I bet you like it. That's better, isn't it? Yeah. That happens a couple other times, so watch out for that. Okay. We usually don't bump the last note of a phrase, right? That's usually bad behavior, right? Okay. So really great. Bravo. I could spend an hour with you on this piece, but just because it's such a great piece. But really good job. Your rhythm is great. His fingers are so good. The clarity is really great. Just work with those little sequences and those couple little phrase endings. It's really good. Bravo. Thank you.